Hello to everyone. Sorry, I was just helping out with a bit of tech in the studio there. Hi, Ryan, Matthew, Craig. I'm Gareth. I've been working with Patrick for many a year now. And welcome to the first live event in the Clubhouse. We've got some fantastic music coming up from Louise. As you can see her in the middle row there. Make sure you look at her profile. And we've got Ben also there, a long-time old friend I've just seen and said hello to. How are you there, Ben?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Nice profile pic there as well.
A cropped off family photo is what it is.
Patrick, how many iRig 2s do you have set up?
We have currently, we got one, I think 5 or 6. And they are currently, so I'll get into the tech, which is rather interesting. And what we're doing, Ryan, to give you an idea, is how we're doing it. We're actually recording this and filming this. We've got about 6 or 7 or 8 cameras in the studio, which is recording the process for a podcast so we can show people how to go about doing this. Now, I think the fundamental reason why we're doing this is to get artists back performing. They can do this from their bedroom, and we want to show them how to do it properly, because at the moment what we're hearing is iPhones being plugged in, put next to speakers, and it's not, the production quality is just up to shit. So what we want to do is take our experience and give that to the musicians, even if they're doing it just in their room, at home, and then bring performances to the global audience that's currently sitting here on Clubhouse, and all the eyes seem to be here. So, you know, if we can do that, that can potentially bring some revenue in for them. We can get them hosting some of the bigger rooms, or at least not hosting, being the house band within the bigger rooms. And again, generate revenue. We've just had an announcement today from the government. We've been given our roadmap out of this. I think 21st of June is effectively the date in which everything becomes unlocked. So I'm really looking forward to that. With that said, I would like to ask Ben to just introduce himself, please.
Hi everyone. I'm Ben. I've worked with Patrick and Gareth and the guys at Perception for many years now. I play guitar and I write songs. I've played in bands pretty much all of my adult life. I now teach music production at a big public school up in Buckinghamshire, but I've been working in the sort of music education teaching arena for a little over 10 years now.
Thanks for that. Ben is one of the great producers that I've worked with. And then following on from that, another extraordinary producer and tour manager is Craig. Craig, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Craig Leach. I'm a tour manager, front of house engineer. I tour with bands like Postmodern Jukebox and Anti-Flag, Sam Henshaw, Ollie Murs, all sorts of people. Been doing it for quite some time now. Met these crazy people 10 years ago, I think it was now. It's quite a while back. And we've got up to all sorts of mischief together. So, yeah, this should be really fun.
Awesome. Matthew, over to you, sir.
Hello again. I'm Matthew. I'm a events lecturer, PhD student in events, but also events adventurer. Go around the world, check out events, write about them. And then the pandemic hit, and nothing ever happened again. The same. So I'm more of the analytical side of events.
I think the beautiful thing about Clubhouse is that I've made some incredible friends. One is Matthew and one is Ryan, who I'm going to pass over to in a minute. Ryan, tell us about yourself, sir.
Hey, everybody. So my name's Ryan Kozak. I'm based in Switzerland, but I'm a Canadian. I currently work for UEFA organizing the Euro 2020. But as Patrick kind of said, I'm just trying to find ways to use this app to help people and create opportunities for, musicians in that. I miss music, so I would love to see more live music. And that's I think, what we're trying to do here.
Awesome, and well done as ever. Ryan is probably one of the best moderators I've come across in this app. So I would very much encourage you to follow him and check out the rooms that he moderates. But for the segue, Ryan, you couldn't have done much better. Louise, let's kick this thing off and let's get a live song going. Over to you.
Okay. This is called Up to Me. You know, I saw you don't you ignore it? Then night was so special. All night I thought about it. The things you said, and now it seems it's up to me, up to me, up to me. I can't place it, taken by surprise, unexpected attraction, my Mr. Right, and you're such a temptation. I've got to make up my mind, and now it's up to me, 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 up to me. Of course, there's one thing. You have someone else on the scene, but then night was so special. Ooh, I can't place it, taken by surprise, unexpected attraction, my Mr. Right, you're such a temptation. I've got to make up my mind, and now it's up to me, 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 up to me. Time went by so easily, I thought of only you. You never left my side the whole night, and now I'm thinking I can't place it, taken by surprise, unexpected attraction, my Mr. Right, you're such a temptation. I've got to make up my mind, and now it's up to me, up to, I can't place it, taken by surprise, unexpected attraction, my Mr. Right, you're such a temptation. I've got to make up my mind, and now it's up to me, 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 up to me, up to me, up to me, up to me. Thank you.
Everybody on stage, let's give a big round of applause. How awesome was that young woman? So whilst Louise makes her way over to set her chat box up, if you would, and get down from the performance area, I just wanted to point out that obviously one of the things that we don't want is to experience music through an iPhone speaker. So if you are here for the show, for the duration, we'll probably run for an hour if we can, if we've got enough chat in us, which I'm sure this panel has. Please go grab your headphones to enjoy the performance that much better. The way it works for anybody that's new here, please come to stage by raising your hand. Do you know what, actually? Ryan, do you want to take this? You're much better at it than I am.
I mean, I can. I'm eating dinner, but I'll definitely take on somewhere, no problem. So if there's anybody in the audience who wants to join in, tune in, maybe ask questions about what's going on, the technical stuff, or if you want to ask any of the artists, I guess, who are there, I think you have a first hand, so feel free to put up your hand and you can join in and ask questions or engage with Patrick and his team. That was an amazing performance, first of all, let me just say. So round of applause again.
Amazing. Thanks very much. Oh, and Louise is in. So one of the first things to consider is that when you come up to stage, please mute your mic. And then there's a little plus sign at the bottom. Please ping in some friends to have a listen to the performance. This is about the music. It is about promoting Louise. And the first topic of conversation, which I'd like to bring to everybody's attention and sort of discuss, is how do we translate music and performance into sort of productionless environments. And what I mean by that is, how do we make music experiences much better online? Let's get Louise to start the conversation rolling. And Louise, tell us a bit about yourself and where you've come from and how your experiences have been throughout the COVID period.
Firstly, I just want to say thank you to my wonderful guitarist Maffro W. So give him a round of applause, please. Thank you. It's so nice to be here, by the way. Just being in a room with other people and playing music live. It's lovely. So thank you for the experience. Sorry, I forgot the question. Brilliant.
What's your experience been like in the current COVID period, transferring your skill set into sort of like a productionless environment, doing it online via your Zoom chats, and where you can't polish a turd, so to speak, but like we need to get music out, so we need to hear live performances like this. What have your experiences been like currently?
So we've done a few live stream things, and actually, as you mentioned earlier, I'm actually doing an official live stream gig at the 606 Club on the 7th of March. So that's great because it's a venue. They've set it all up COVID safe. Obviously there won't be an audience, but all the camera crew and that will be there, and it people will pay to watch it, and we've got the full band. So I'm really excited about that because it will actually, apart from missing the audience, because 606 is a very intimate jazz club, so normally you obviously feed off the audience, so it'll be a bit weird being in the room, but I'm just so grateful that I'm going to be doing what is as close to a proper gig as I can do at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 606 is a gorgeous club.
So good, yeah. It's lovely. It's really special in there, so yeah, I'm really grateful they want me. But yeah, over the year, obviously I've kind of gone through phases of denial and all that stuff, and just had to get on with it. Done a couple of live things like IG Live from my house, but I can play the piano, but I'm not very good, so I never feel that confident doing that. So I've also done some pre-recorded things. So in fact, Maffro and I have done some split screen pre-recorded stuff that I've then used as content. So it might not be live, but it's content for Instagram that we can record remotely. I even did a whole music video that I did remotely, like in lockdown. And obviously, I mean, I'm so grateful that I already know how to record at home. I already had, know how to use Logic and had a decent microphone and set up at home. So I'm just really grateful that I was still able to do recording work and write. And at the moment, I've been really embracing that, and I've been doing like paid remote recording sessions. Today, before here, I was recording a demo for an advert, and they're based in Berlin, but we had a Zoom call, and then I did the recording and sent it to them. And so it's, I'm up for more of that. I do just miss the live.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. The recording side is great, but the money needs to come in. And I think the other thing is that as performers, you feed off that audience, and that's the thing that I think that we all miss the most, because the audience feeds off the musician as well.
Exactly.
How do you then take that and put that into a live performance online where you can't get feedback? How has that been? How's that emotion been?
Well, I guess the thing is, especially if you do like a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live or whatever it is platform you use, although you can see how many people are watching, it can be really disheartening, because you'll have like 5 viewers and then it'll go down to 4 and then it'll go up, and you're like, are they even listening? They might just have their phone on and be in the kitchen. Yeah. You don't really know how engaged they are with what you're doing online, and that. But I'd rather be trying to do stuff than just not do anything. Like, you just got to embrace technology and what's out there. I mean, this was great because there's a few of us in this space.
Yeah.
We did have people to feed off, so it was really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And can I throw this to the floor? Do you guys have any questions surrounding that topic and Louise, and how it is to perform digitally? We need that cricket sound effect. Where are the crickets? Well, that tumbleweed, that rolling.
The sound
tumbleweed.
effects are coming. Yeah, that will be coming next week.
So, Louise, I have a question for you. Do you feel like because you can't interact with the audience, that you feel like you're not performing and it doesn't really feel the same, or do you feel like because we're on stage and we can ask some questions that it's still kind of as close as we can get?
Do you mean today? Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, today feels different because this is the first time I've done a Clubhouse performance, and the fact that we're in a proper studio space with, amazing sound crew and cameras and everything, it feels more of a professional setup. And can't remember anyone's names, but yeah, great crew.
Yes, we are very good.
So today feels different, whereas if I was just doing, me on my own in my studio flat, playing the piano badly, I don't know. I don't. It just depends, because obviously then you've got people can comment, can't they, on an IG live, but then when you're performing you can't then read the comments and reply, so it feels, I don't know.
I also think that there is a huge difference between being stage fright and camera fright. They are two very different things as well, and performing in front of a camera is so different to performing in front of people because it's a whole different dynamic. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I feel more nervous actually the less people there are and not knowing who's listening, or if you've only got one take, whatever. Whereas when you do it live, I might sing a bit of a bum note and then I won't care as much.
Just kind of go past it, don't you? Just move past it and vibe with it, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's definitely, back to like Ryan's question, and what Patrick said, I'm very much a live performer, and the feeling you get being on stage, especially singing my own songs, and an audience enjoying something that's personal to you that you've worked hard on, and when you've got, just playing in the same room as Matt, we've done loads of gigs together, but it felt so special today. Just big next time. It's just it is a really, and also when you play live, anything can happen, and we vibe off each other, and things change.
As a question for you though, when was the last time you played live with Matt?
Well, actually, do you remember in September, October, like things were open for a bit? Do you remember that? It feels like a dream. But we had some gigs. We had a couple of our covers gigs where we were. Actually, no, we did one originals gig at the Bedford, which was great. They opened and they did a proper, they made sure it was socially distant. It was just before tier 2. So, I don't know, because obviously we were in a different tier every week in London for like 2 months. But we also did a couple of our like background covers gigs at fancy venues like the Oxo Tower, and we did the Ned. And so we have seen each other relatively recently in that sense, and we did one live stream gig in the summer that I'd organised with my band. So, yeah.
Because interestingly, in 2020, the bars and pubs were shut for 103 days, but by the time we come back in 2021, it's going to be 98 days. It's going to be exactly the same time, but we're going to get a certainly different feel. It feels it's going to be a lot shorter because we can now see an end goal line of you coming back to sing live with Matt. When actually it was the same amount of days. It's going to be a bizarre feeling for us all.
I'm certainly looking forward to getting back to things and cracking on. So what I want to do is move this on and get another performance on, if you're all right. What we will discuss, Louise, if you make your way to the stage, the next topic of discussion we'll bring in Ben and Matthew, who are educators in music, and I wanted to talk about the I guess the horizon. What are we doing? Where are we going? What are we training people? How are we teaching people in the new horizon of music? So I'll shut up. Louise, over to you.
This next song is called "See How Far Our Love Can Go." It's a love song for all you lovers out there. Take me away, make my day for me, take me away to Wonderland, shroud me with love, make my day for me, bury our problems names in the sand. Make me your muse, paint your way with me, make me your subject of desires, catch I'm your love, draw your way with me, carve it in stone, it will never tire, hold me close, don't let me go, 'cause now you know we're in love. Here we are, let's go far, let's see how far love can go. We'll set them free, you and me, let's see how far love can go. Open your mind, let me in your soul. Open your heart, live this fantasy. Don't give up hope, let us realize. Don't let this fade, let's hold on and see. Hold me close, don't let me go, 'cause now you know we're in love. Here we are, let's go far, let's see how far love can go. We'll set them free, you and me, let's see how far love can go. I don't just wanna cross your mind, I wanna stay there till the end of time. I don't just wanna cross your mind, I hope you'll be forever mine. And here we are, let's go far, let's see how far love can go. We'll set them free, you and me, let's see how far love can go. Here we are, let's go far, far, let's see how far love can go. We'll set them free, you and me, let's see how far love can go. Thank you. Go up for Maffro.
Yeah, that's the business. Right, so this next segment, Louise, thank you for that. That was awesome.
Thank you.
What we want to do now is we want to talk about the music in the schools, in the education system. Matthew and Ben and we've got Will up on stage now as well. One of the fundamentals is what we're going to be doing in the future. How are we going to go forward? How are people going to be taught to perform? Is performing on Zoom now part of the syllabus? Matthew, Ben, Will, over to you guys. Up to you. Just let me know what your thoughts are on the matter.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can I also firstly say, wow, Louise, that was absolutely amazing. Anytime you're doing a gig in Glasgow, if you can just give us a shout, that'd be great.
Thank you.
I don't need a guest list, don't worry. If you want a gig in Glasgow, whenever our national leader decides to open the border, well, certainly, Patrick, we can sort something up here. I know a few mountains and hills. Okay, so I think firstly to kick off now, I teach events management, which is a whole spectrum of issues, factors, and also different things from marketing to music festivals and so on. And Ben will probably look at more the music education within schools. But the one thing that I was thinking about when Patrick contacted me about this was, I think the people that are making the decisions of teaching music and actually education as a whole, and I'm putting this out here and saying it very honestly, are so out of the industry in some respects. And I think that is dangerous because they're not keeping up with it. And I was talking to someone today, and they said the problem is that it will take 3 years for things to be changed, and 3 years is already then changed after the changes are made. Now, I'm teaching something now that was made in 2015. That was 6 years ago. But the next time that that's to be renewed is in 2023. That in itself is just ridiculous, because people won't be skilled. We won't be able to teach students what they need to be taught. We won't be able to, what they need to know, sorry. We won't be able to actually give them the knowledge because it's not part of a curriculum. This isn't a curriculum right now, but I'm learning a lot, you're learning a lot, we're all learning a lot. But to put that into education, it has to go through procedures and lots of different bureaucratic steering groups. That's not the future of our industry. Our future of industry needs to, the education of our industry, needs to try and catch up very quickly before education is then seen to be outdated. I'll pass it over to Ben, but I think that tonight has shown the possibilities that we should be showing our students. And the student that's in the crowd now, I'm going to ask you tomorrow in class your thoughts, and you know who you are. But I definitely think that the future of the students today need to learn this for the development of tomorrow.
Well said, Ben. Ben, what are your thoughts? So you've been in the education sphere for a long time.
Yeah, thanks for that, Matthew. I think I'd probably echo a lot of those sentiments, even with regards to more focus on the music side of things. My background is in music production. I run a recording studio at the school, and that's obviously an area of music which is constantly developing and evolving, more so than some other areas of traditional music. And there are things in syllabus on A-level music courses, for example, which can be quite quickly outdated as tastes change and as technology evolves. And I think that the syllabus is quite a difficult thing to manage when it comes to new or developing technologies at the best of times. I think that music teaching more broadly, this sort of whole experience of the last 12 months has sort of amplified the process and sort of given you another string in the bow. Sorry for the pun, but you have to consider that you're teaching students in a classroom, as well as potentially students are going to be out of a classroom. So for the last 3 terms, I've been teaching classes where there might be a couple of students who are self-isolating or working from overseas or whatever. So I'm teaching a classroom full of people when they're in school, but I'm also having to broadcast my lesson over Zoom or Teams or whatever, and you've got to kind of work with both of those, and then obviously for the last term, kids haven't been in classrooms and everything has been remote. So again, it's taking what I would normally do and figuring out the best way from both a technological standpoint and an engagement standpoint, the best way to get that information and that lesson delivery down the internet without compromising on the quality of what you're trying to get across.
Yeah, and I agree, but I think that the question I was trying to sort of also get to and an answer for is, are we going to be teaching the students now how to perform for a digital audience? Is that one of the subjects that will be brought into the syllabus? And that I'm not just talking about music necessarily. I'm talking about the performing arts. So what are the thoughts on that? Will Ben, anybody on the panel?
Yeah, can I jump into that one? That virtual events, the delivery of virtual events has never been taught in an events management course as such before in the last 5 years. But that's a different industry when you think about it. That's multimedia, that's journalism to an extent, that's production and tech and AV. And obviously the whole industry's pivoted, but unfortunately there's been a certain amount of people who study specifically events management, who study specifically festival management, who weren't privy to those modules and that development in courses. And that's what I was talking to that person about today. Those those certain subjects, those certain skills of hybrid and virtual has to go through steering groups, has to go through different groups. That is going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years when the industry will then change forward.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. Will, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I did want to say, so it is one of those interesting conundrums, isn't it? Because, we are in this situation now where students doing an HE course are paying, in excess of £9,000 a year in most cases. So there is that element of, any degree course that's being undertaken has been through this really strong process of making sure that the course is applicable and that it's the right value and all of this stuff. And the reality is that something like this come along and it really does show some of the issues inherent in the system when you're trying to turn this ocean liner of a course around. And I'm interested to know, Matthew, are you teaching in HE or is it college level?
I'm actually both. I actually teach at three universities, two unis. One as a disc supervisor, and then one uni as module deliverer, part of the team, and then in a college lecturing FE as well.
I've certainly found, so I tend to work more in a consultancy area around developing courses with HE course providers in my education activities. And what I've seen a lot of is certainly with more progressive kind of sort of contemporary music educators, particularly an interest in pivoting away from talking about specifics of a job and training around skills. But you've still got the problem that Matthew identifies it and Ben identifies as well, of trying to get this content over to students in a way that is completely contrary to both what they are learning and the usual method of teaching it. It's definitely really challenging times, and hats off to educators at the moment for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Louise, just one question, one quick one, Matt. No, it's all right. I'll pass it over to you afterwards. I just wanted to ask Louise, your experience with your education in terms of music. How long ago versus now? What are your opinions on the matter in terms of teaching in the education system for a digital audience?
Well, funnily enough, one of the things that I've done this year to make extra money while gigging's not happening is teaching French online, because I did French at uni and speak French. So I've adapted my skills to, which it's great. I'm like, I'm finally using my degree. So I only know, but then one-to-one French teaching is very different to teaching music, because obviously on Zoom you've got latency issues, and I know musician friends that have been carrying on teaching guitar or whatever on Zoom, and they said it's just not the same. I mean, obviously that's teaching someone an instrument, it might be different. I mean, I don't know. I think technology needs to keep up with the actual latency issues if that is going to be the future. But yeah, that's the only experience I've got really.
So we are going to touch on the tech side of things later on. But Louise, if you'd give us the honour of another performance while I waffle and talk shit in the meantime. But just with regards to latency, there is actually a bit of software that I've discovered recently through one of these Clubhouse groups. I delve in and out of various speciality areas so that I can learn nuggets of information from professionals. And there is a bit of software that pings your router, and it pings the router on the other side, and allows for sort of the displacement of latency. I'm not giving this explanation any justice, but if Tim would come to the stage at some point and put his hand up, he could give us a good rundown of it. But I'll stop speaking now, and let's have Louise do another one of her beautiful songs.
Thank you. This is called Scarlet Women, and it's actually my most recent single that I released actually last year during lockdown and did the remote video for. And Maffro produced this song, so there you go, we wrote this together. These boys, they say that they want me, but I know I can't have these boys. I know that they're playing and it's driving me mad. These boys, why mess with my feelings? Why mess with my head? These boys, flirting with me greatly, but it's her in your bed. I feel like a temptress. I feel just like a tease, a scarlet woman, but with great unease. Treat me like a temptress. You tell me I'm a tease a Scarlet Woman, but unintentionally. These boys, they might be unhappy, it's why they look elsewhere. These boys shouldn't be a reason, yet it's still unfair. These boys, even if it happened one night of just fun. These boys, where would they leave me? Guilty and mentioned. I feel like a temptress. I feel just like a tease, a Scarlet Woman, but with great unease. Treat me like a temptress. You tell me I'm a tease, a Scarlet Woman, but unintentionally. All these things frustrate me so. Why for something that's a no-go? Doesn't matter that I want them and they want me to. The Scarlet Woman is lonely and blue. Lonely and blue. I feel like a temptress. I feel just like a tease, a Scarlet Woman, but with great unease. Treat me like a temptress. They tell me I'm a tease, a Scarlet Woman, but unintentionally. Treat me like a temptress. They tell me I'm a tease, a Scarlet Woman, but with great unease. Treat me like a temptress. You tell me I'm a tease, a Scarlet Woman, but unintentionally. Thank you. I just want to say, obviously that was the acoustic version, but please listen to the produced version because Maffro's production is amazing, and he's got another song out called 6 Feet Under, which he's just released, which is amazing. And also I want to pick up Zara, who choreographed our video, because we did it all on Zoom in lockdown. So we did all the choreography sessions on Zoom, and then we filmed each other. So we not filmed ourselves, separately, and I edited it all together. But anyway, Maffro, please.
That was amazing. Matthew, I apologise. I didn't get back to you. That was me being the worst moderator in this platform. Can you address your question, please, sir?
Do you know what, Patrick? I forgive you. How's that? I forgive you. Only because you've got a very good accent. That's the only why. So I think one thing that I wanted to ask you, Patrick, when we were talking about, the development of education, when was, as a professional in the industry, as someone that runs events, got your company, everything like that, when was the last time an educator of an organisation came to you, and said, "What do you look for in a student? What do you look for in a graduate?" And I know there's been loads of rooms. Some of them are great. Some of them I don't think are so great. But what's your, when was the last time? Probably never. And I think that's the biggest thing. So what would you say to that? And especially Louise as well as a performer, for people, you should be shaping the education to an extent and developing it.
I couldn't agree more, and I think work experience should be far more part of the course. We should be getting students through the system. I learned when I left my education, I went from recording engineering into the world of live immediately, and learned more in my first 6 months than I did in 3 years of college. So I'd say that the fundamental thing is that we as an industry need to be teaching the youth, and we do when they are put in work placements, but never have we ever had an education authority or university or college approach us at all. So yeah, good point, Matt. One of the things we wanted to bring to the table, quite literally, for this particular discussion was for any musicians or any performing artists in the group or that's listening to this that wanted to put together a performance and do it in a polished production way. So I'm going to hand over to Craig and give him the floor to discuss the lowdown on how we put this together in a very short space of time.
So we've kind of approached this as doing it as close to a live show as possible. So all of our routing is as if I was mixing through a PA, but instead of a PA, we're just going directly into Clubhouse. So we have incorporated all of those elements essentially. So I'm not entirely sure what the final product sounds like at this stage, but I believe what's going on inside Clubhouse is actually, it's not. Oh well, fantastic! That's great to hear, and that's exactly what we want to hear, because that means we're doing something right here, which is great. So those approaches of approaching it like a gig seem to be working, and I think as we kind of develop it and try and capture atmosphere, because I think that's going to be the hardest thing to do, especially in a place like Clubhouse. Then we can develop the technology around it. But the way we've done it is basically just through doing a gig, and I think it's that ethos that is going to work because it's tried and tested. And like, if anyone's got any suggestions on how to improve it or other ways of doing it, definitely open to ideas.
So that's the thing, is to collaborate on things. And one of the things to give anybody out there a simple bit of hardware called the iRig 2. It is something you should buy if you're wanting to perform into Clubhouse or into any digital platform. It is a £25 or $30 item. I will send anybody information on this product if you want. And what it is, it's a TRRS product that slips into your iPhone, into the lightning adapter of your iPhone or your iPad, and it allows you an input on that device. So you can then feed any instrument or source feed into it, so you can send a mix out from your console or your digital audio workstation, so you can actually do live performances through any platform, whether it be Facebook Live, through a single device, which is really cheap. The bit of software I was talking about earlier is something called Jam Kazam, so you might want to look that up. I have not trialed this yet. My two colleagues, Craig and Tim, will be looking at this for us. It is a piece of software to address your point earlier, Louise, about the latency. So you might want to look it up as well, and then you might be able to work with teaching and people across the world with little to no latency. Again, I can't say I know anything about it, but it might be worth a try. So just putting it to the panel, is there anything that the panel would like to bring to the equation? I think Gareth unmuting his mic. Were you unmuting your mic?
Yeah, I was going to say, from obviously the past experience of the last 72 hours, as Craig said, we have treated this like a gig. We've come in, we've actually done rehearsals. We've done band rehearsals, we've done vocal rehearsals, we've done send, we've seed, we've done many tests, and from that we've fault-finded, and we've worked through, and with the iRigs, with the microphones, we've changed them over. We've actually gone through each process and each step, so that tonight Louise sounds as good as she has.
It's only because just point that out, Louise. You may not know our names, but we know yours and we know where you live.
I was only joking. Of course, I know your names. It's just there's quite a.
That's what it's about. It's about fun and games. I tell you, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this process, and this is to everybody out there at the moment listening that will really appreciate this, I think, the feeling of, number one, when we started setting up, just simply setting the desk up, the banter in the room, just hearing fucking banter again was lovely. Oh, you're doing that wrong, you wanker. Oh, you fucking.
Well, yeah, I remember you helping as much as you do on site as well.
Well, you know, some of us have a box and we have to stay in that box, Craig. So yeah, and then Louise coming in and throwing in another dynamic, and we're all doing this very safely. I'll have you know, we are recording this on film so that you can see how responsible we're being. We're not touching anybody. We're not licking each other's faces. But we are certainly doing this because we know that the way forward for this industry is to get cracking, but get cracking safely. So one of the things that we wanted to also discuss was the way in which we will be able to do performances, events, and maybe even control things remotely. We're doing a lot of things tonight where we're recording a number of our cameras from the rig remotely from Tim, who's in the audience, and he's set that up and he's recording it from his houseboat in London. So I guess I wanted to throw that to the floor in terms of what are your thoughts on live versus virtual? Can we mix the two in terms of hybrid? And do you think we'll be able to control live events remotely?
I think we already are. I think the best bit about all of this is that whether we're doing a gig in real, like in front of people, we've now got the practices and the facilities and the technology easily available and kind of worked out that we can do super hybrid events. Like like what we're doing here. This is a Clubhouse room right now, but it's also being recorded into multi-tracks. It's being made into videos for promo material. Like, it's kind of 10 birds with one stone.
I love it. Does anybody else have an experience out there in terms of producing anything remotely? Matthew, what, from your side, the schooling and the education and being involved in events. I'd love to hear like a similar type story where you've been able to control something remotely on your travels and your AT events, or even now during the COVID period.
Yeah, so, I was actually just, can I just say one thing? No, that's totally just went from my mind. I did have something, but it's completely gone. One thing that I was going to say was, I actually delivered the whole of a university's Freshers Week in September. They basically asked me to come up with their Freshers Week activity, and I had to really be. We weren't allowed any students at all on campus in Scotland at this time, so I had to develop a program that was all online. Firstly, the challenge of that is extraordinary, but the challenge is creating some engagement material. So I phoned Mr. Motivator, yes, the fitness hero of the UK of the 90s, and we had United Nations, we had live bands, we had everything through our education platform. We had a magic show, and we had over 4,500 students done it. But I controlled it from my white IKEA desk in Glasgow, in my house. And everything was beamed online. We had drag bingo, we had Facebook Live being used, we had Zoom calls with Marvin Humes, and it kind of questioned me. And I thought, is this are we going to get not a wee bit more not lazy? And I don't mean that at all. But are we going to be kind of like getting used to this approach? And that was the one question that I had for users. Will we get a use of the approach of being disattached from where the nuclear of the activity is? Like you are saying about loving the banter, and Craig was saying about Patrick really helping today, which sounds great. And I think, are we going to actually be like, oh no, it's okay, actually you don't need to be near, you can be somewhere else? And does that actually change the way events industry's delivered, Craig?
I hope not. I hope that people still want to go out and do it all, but I hope that we can now triple, quadruple the audiences that these events will be available.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is that you're vastly widening the scope for your audience as a performer. I mean, and as a spectator, if there's a gig that I want to go to, but for whatever reason I can't get there because it's a long way away or whatever, if I could tune into it online, I could watch it or listen to it or just certainly a part of it. And then, when I know that when that show comes near or when it comes closer to town, I can definitely get a ticket because I remember how good it was online. And from a performer point of view, it means that you're still going to enjoy performing in a room. You can't get away from that. It is 99% of being a live musician is performing to people. But to have in the back of your mind that you're doing this show and there's something that's going out in real time online for people to hear, which then might drag audience into your future shows, I think is just such a powerful tool.
Just an added element of promo, essentially, isn't it, as well?
Absolutely. I think that segues me to my next point, is the business of music and how we think that Louise is going to, as an example, how she can manufacture monetary value out of that. So, we're going to be performing at 606, you're going to be performing 606. How then can you monetize that extended reach? And I think, is that something that you would want to do, perform to two audiences effectively?
Yeah, I mean, there are venues doing that already, and actually the Bedford has been live streaming for years. Like they were already sorted anyway, but so they always have an audience and they live stream it. With 606, maybe they'll start doing it because essentially you can only have a certain amount of people in the room. So why would they not? And then you can charge less for people watching it online, obviously, because like my gig, I think it's $5.95 a ticket, whereas obviously if you were there in person, I think it's £10 plus food plus whatever. I was going to say though, one side of the music business, which I think it's the same in most industries, is the networking side. And you can't beat being in a room and having a conversation face to face with someone. And most of the opportunities I've had in my music career have been because I've met someone at a party or I've been to a gig and I've had a conversation, and that's how you build up. Otherwise it's
But I'll put this to you. This is what we're doing right here, right now. This is the new age of networking. Look at what we're doing. Look at the people in the room who now know who you are. They're going to connect with you on Instagram through your bio. And this is the new age. And this is kind of what I was thinking, like the potential here is endless. There's no question that we should be networking on, in a room because of that passion that you feel when you see a live performance and you want to be engaged with the artist. And then, I remember watching my first band, my first concert, growing up in South Africa. Nobody came to South Africa to watch, to perform because of the apartheid era and etc. And the first band that came, I think I was 16 years old, and it was Bon Jovi. I'm not a big Bon Jovi fan. I'm more of a hard rock kind of guy, but they came and it just blew me away. I went and bought the CD the next day and I became a fan for life because of live music. That's not going to be the same anymore. But what I'm saying in terms of networking, this I wouldn't discount digital necessarily yet because of platforms like this coming up.
True, yeah.
No, but I think it's also worth considering that it's half of, you kind of alluded to it almost there, whether it was intentionally or not, that half of the experience with going to a live show is the watch element, and not all of these platforms, lots of them do have video side of it, and this is great, it sounds great, but there is still that element of I want to see what Louise is doing on the stage, I want to see what the guitar player is doing on the stage, and I think that that element of it is where it sort of leads my mind more to it being a hybrid thing, and having digital happening exclusively of live. In this situation, yeah, that makes perfect sense, but when live music can happen again, I can see that they go hand in hand rather than separately.
Can I mention virtual reality?
You can, as soon as the headsets are affordable and in the hands of the many. I think that's something that is definitely a discussion point, but also I guess the sound quality and the production value needs to be, and the knowledge on how to create good production value within the public space needs to be brought as a forefront to their minds.
I agree, sort of but I also think that there's a big factor around the visceral nature of it for enjoying music. I actually kind of feel like with the release of the new Oculus Quest 2, which is now less than £300 and is a standalone VR unit that is fully accessible and capable of getting onto everything, and with the kind of cheapness of cameras now, it's actually a really good time. Certainly that's been the thing that's really interested me. So the gig at the end of the world, that whole concept is a virtual reality channel. So everything that we've released since Christmas has been virtual reality content, and it's slow, but the whole model is around the idea of creating a platform upon which people can advertise, upon which you can take revenue through YouTube, through Google Ads and all of that, rather than your more traditional, let's put on a live show, put it out and sell tickets, for example. It is a very
It's a different approach, and Ben, to your point as well, one of the things I think I wanted to highlight is that we in this room, in this space, are not in any way disagreeing that we want live back. We want it back fast and we want it back hard. But there are a lot of people in this world that don't necessarily like large crowds. They don't like shitty Glastonbury toilets. They want to experience music in the comfort of their own home with their incredible surround sound system, and they want to watch it through very good video production quality, for the film crews and whatever you. And I guess there's two sides to it. So I'm just trying to put the best argument forward for both sides of it. And I think that we need to, as an industry, adapt to the virtual thing and make it as good as we can to ensure that the quality that we put forward in live is also put forward in the digital space. Now, with that long fucking monologue, apologies for that, Louise has now come up for her final performance of the evening. I would very much appreciate a huge stage clap from everybody on stage. Ben and all the new people in the audience, clap your microphone. This has been a wonderful experience. We're going to be doing this every Wednesday going forward. Oh, Stevens has something to say. Stephen's coming up. Stephen, mute your mic as soon as you come onto stage. But we're going to be doing this every Wednesday. We're going to be inviting bands, etc., as many different bands as we can. We'd love Louise to come back, to be fair. Louise is great, and we have her on.
To come back. I'm free at the moment, so you know.
There you go. How easy was that, guys? How easy was that?
Not for much longer. Not for much longer.
Not for much longer. We're going back, guys. Back to live. Right, I'll shut up and let's hear Louise. That's what we're here for.
Thanks so much for having me, and Matt, and Craig. Thanks for the amazing sound. This is our last song. It's called "It's True," and it's another one that we actually wrote together and that Matt produced. Hope you like it. Oh, and come to this. No, not come to the 606. Watch the 606 from your homes on the 7th of March. Yeah. Anyway, I'll put the details on the thing. Matt, you better come because you're playing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a full band one. Thank you. On this summer's day, wishing I could wish my cares away. Got you on my mind again. It's true. See how we belong, even though I'm always feeling wrong. But I know the sun will shine for me, and you. No spark without a fire, no fire without desire. We're burning ever brighter. It's true. No spark without the fuse, no spark without my view. We're burning ever brighter. It's true. See how each day goes. Don't you know the sun will shine and glow? But the rain still makes rainbows for me and you. They say that love will conquer all, so we're gonna live just by that rule. Don't you see the sun will shine for me and you. No smoke without the fire, no fire without desire. We're burning ever brighter. It's true. No spark without the fuse, no spark without my you. We're burning ever brighter. It's true. You see all of the times that I know it's true, and now you're here with me, yeah, and know it's true. And you're giving me life, yeah, and know it's true. Yeah, I know, yeah, I know, yeah, I know it's true. No smoke without fire, no fire without desire. We're burning ever brighter. It's true. No spark without the fuse, no spark without my you. We're burning ever brighter. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. Thank you. Can I just say one thing I've just realised? Because I'm not going out anymore, I don't have a croaky voice from going out drinking. So that's one good thing about the club's being shut. But otherwise...
I'm going to be honest with you. I got a croaky voice because I'm drinking too much at the moment. That's my problem. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up. This has been a wonderful hour. Victoria wants to say something, so we'll bring her up to stage. I'm going to give this opportunity in the last sort of 5-10 minutes for everybody to wrap up, talk nonsense, and promote themselves. We'll start with Louise. Louise, please go ahead and give everybody the info that they need in order to get to you.
Thank you. Thanks again to Matt on guitar, Maffro W. It's Louise Golbey. I'm on Instagram at Louise Golbey and Twitter and all that. And the website louisegolbey.com. Got a YouTube channel, please subscribe. Got lots of music videos on there. It's just youtube.com/Louise Golbey channel. And all my stuff's online everywhere, Spotify, Apple Music, all of that. Obviously I mentioned the 606 Club, so that's Sunday the 7th of March. So all the tickets are online on the website. And I think it's going to be either online, it's going to be obviously live on the Sunday, but then I think they'll show it again or keep it online. So that's also good for us because, you know, it will carry on, I guess, making some revenue as well. And what was the other thing? Oh yes, I also started doing a podcast. It's called the Songwriters Podcast, where I'm basically talking to the UK's top songwriters. And funnily enough, that's actually blossomed because of this year. We started doing it originally in real life, where we were recording people in real life. And then we thought, actually, we can do this remotely. So we've been doing video calls. We just record the audio separately, and then my producer edits it together. We've ended up getting better guests because of it, because people were more free. They didn't have to leave their house. It only takes an hour of their time. And I've ended up working with some of our guests, which is great. So I'm working with Rob Davis, who co-wrote Can't Get You Out of My Head for Kylie and loads of other big stuff. So some good stuff has kind of come by default this year. But anyway, the Songwriters Podcast, and we're now in association with Ivan Novello's and PRS as well, which is amazing.
That's
but anyway,
awesome.
I'll stop talking.
Super
Thank
awesome.
you for having me.
No, that's super awesome. Where can they get that podcast? Where can they find that podcast?
That's also on all the platforms. The other one thing I want to say is this time last year we were in India, and we managed to have we got booked to play at someone's wedding in India, and we also played at the O2 in 2019. I'm just really grateful those things happened when they did, and that they weren't cancelled or postponed or whatever. But yeah,
let's give
anyway, thank you.
a big round of applause. Matt, brilliant, good, superb. Right, let's go over to Gareth. Final words, and then I'll pass it on to the panel after that.
From my side, well, it should be only, I think it's about 90 days we should be able to go and listen to you live on the 17th of May. I also think, from sitting in this audience today, and my daughter is sitting in there with me, we have both listened to you. She is now Snapchatting you. I won't Snapchat you because I'm not on Snapchat, but I will then promote you, and it just shows that we are both the digital listening experience, that we are now loving the same music, which isn't something that we would have done before. So I think this is the way forward, and from the educational point of view, we will come back and discuss that topic a lot more because it's going to be ongoing for 2021.
Awesome. Craig, over to you, sir.
This was great fun. I can't remember what I'm doing. What am I doing? I'm telling you all, I'm wonderful. Really looking forward to doing more of these. I do a podcast very similar to Louise's, called Talking Touring.
Louise is choking because you said I'm wonderful.
And then, we're just going to carry on working on developing the Event Broadcast Network, I think, at the moment. And I think that's what we want. Oh, and thank you, everyone. There's so many people here to thank, and we've run out of time.
Ben, give us a shout. Give us a final hurrah.
Well, I'd just like to say thanks to everybody for being part of it today, and thanks to Louise for playing for us. It's been so long since I've actually heard live music. It's been quite refreshing. I've been writing songs and playing live for my whole adult life, I said at the start. Segueing more into production and teaching the last sort of 10 years. So if anybody's got any questions about production or songwriting and that sort of stuff, they can get in touch with me on benwesternmusic.com. I'd love to speak to Louise outside of this about songwriting and the music she's doing and the sort of production side of things. So I think that just sort of goes to show, as you guys are all saying, that this is a platform that can bring people together that otherwise wouldn't have crossed paths. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would 100% encourage the two of you to connect, because Ben is an incredible producer and you're and musician. To be honest, Ben, the other thing you didn't mention was, where can people find your music? You're a very talented songwriter and performer.
My music's available on my website. It's also there are various projects that I've worked on personally and for other people that are on Spotify and Apple Music and yada yada yada. But that's all linked through from my website, so it's probably easiest to go to there, or check me out on Instagram. My handle there is @firingline_Ben.
Brilliant. Matthew, my good man.
Patrick, my friend. Can I just say, amazing congratulations on what I very much deem a success, because last night there was a live concert actually for the Texas Relief Fund that was organised by a lot of Hollywood giants, and I would actually say the sound on this was up there. It was actually better than last night. So
he did just say he was wonderful.
well, yeah, you're all wonderful. You're all, none of yous are not my favourite. But Louise, you were brilliant as well. But yeah, so fantastic, well done. Yes, I don't need to sell myself. I'm just someone that enjoys sharing stories about events. So yeah, so have fun, have a great night, and thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful evening.
I will say that if anybody wants to know anything, I certainly, Matthew and I are going to connect and have been trying to for the last couple of weeks outside of this app. His story is something that I want to sit and drink long glasses of whiskey discussing and hearing. 80 events around the world in remind me, 3 years, was it?
It's in 2 weeks, so around the world in 80 events in 26 countries, 61 cities and towns, and 8 months and 2 weeks, all before the pandemic cancelled the events industry.
Definitely hit the man up. It is an incredible story. I'd love to hear more about it. Will, over to you, sir.
I'm really just here to have my first Clubhouse experience and to see what you guys are up to. And this has been amazing. This is really good. I see what you're saying about this being the future, because I just like the fact that it can be this sort of podcasty thing that you can get involved with and actually talk to each other. It's a really, really interesting platform.
Superb. Tim, if you've got anything to say, now is the time. Tim is our head of production, little super genius whiz kid, who's no longer a kid anymore. He's been with us over 12 years now. 13? Oh, Christ, I don't even know. Tim, if you've got anything to say from your houseboat in London, which looks like you're on it at the moment, say so. No, he's not even listening. What a prick. Right, your salary's going down. Right, there. Victoria, would you...
Oh, he's there.
All right. Well, did you want to say anything?
Actual
well, I'm actually driving at the minute, so hence the brief fumble to try and find my phone. But I couldn't think of much to say to add to the working remotely thing, other than it is quite nice being able to set up the radio server from a boat without any internet wires, which 10 years ago would be unthinkable. But now I think it's definitely going to be the way forwards, and less travel and less effort, basically. No, of course I'm lazy, but.
Well, we know that you're not. We know that you're not lazy, but I can certainly tell you that setting up a remote server from a boat in London is definitely something to consider for the way forward. Victoria, over to you.
Louise, that was amazing, and you're wonderful. I followed you on Instagram and immediately, and also your guitarist. I didn't know it catch his name, but absolutely fantastic as well.
Thank you. He's called Matt. Thank you.
Hi, Matt. He's amazing, Matt.
His stage name's Matt.
Matt. Okay, I'm going through you. I'll follow him too. But my question is, so I'm also using an iRig too. So, which can you hear? I can hear my piano, and if I may. Just basically, I'm after. Louise mentioned this song, so if I may, then that's okay. La 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 la. I just can't get you out of my head. Your loving is all I think of. I just can't. So that's my setup. I'm not gonna obviously I'm not trying to do that.
No, don't stop. Don't stop.
It's more than a dare to think about. I say la 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 la. honestly, this is the whole point. My question is, so that this is my setup and I'm using the iRig 2, but I was just hoping for a bit more tech side of things because it has just been an amazing sound. Obviously, you've got an amazing artist right there at the forefront, and amazing musicians. But could you talk me through a little bit more on your tech? Because I imagine, so I've set up with the iRig 2. How have you, and I think Craig is the person I'm asking as well, I think, and Tim, without having a houseboat in London and your own server, how would it get the sound? Because it really did sound phenomenal. And I'm doing events on Clubhouse, I'm doing piano bar sort of style-y things here, so yeah, I would love to collab with anyone who wants to do stuff like that as well.
Hi Victoria. So my advice to you would be is submix it into so if you put your piano and your vocal into a mixer and then send the output of that into Clubhouse, you're going to get your best bang.
That's actually what I'm doing. I'm going through the mixer and then going into the iRig 2, directly from the mixer doing the mono. So yeah, that's okay. That's so it's just to make sure I'm not missing a key part.
No.
I know I can play around with that. Obviously.
Yeah, we're running through some quite high end gear here as well. So that definitely helps us. But obviously Louise was fantastic as well. But it's very much how we would approach a gig as I said earlier. Yeah, I think what you're doing is great. One thing with Clubhouse is it does seem to absolutely crush audio going into it. So my advice certainly with the piano on yours at the moment would be just bring that down in volume a little bit. Because the Clubhouse compression is aggressive to say the least.
And would you put any compressors on it? Sorry to go super techy.
Yeah, I mean I've got compressors on stuff just to control it. You kind of try and give the audio the best chance it has before Clubhouse ruins it, was my theory on it. You're more than welcome.
And Victoria, feel free, please, at any time to get hold of Craig, Tim, myself, Gareth, Louise, anybody you want. This is what this app's about. We're hoping to connect people. You do sound like you're from the UK, and if you ever want to come down and be one of the performers on one of these shows, by all means, hit me up. That would be awesome. But a last call to the audience. If anybody has any questions they'd like to bring to the panel or would like to make a point, please raise your hand. No? Okay, fine. Goodbye. Have a lovely day. We will speak to you on Wednesday.